for today's session is UX, BX, CX, and PX. How do you ensure business experience, customer experience, user experience, and product experience is high for your law office? It is entitled for 1 hour of professionalism CPD credits, and we will be sharing the attendance link and topic information on the chat towards the end of the session. Request you to please switch to the phone audio in case you're finding it difficult to hear me. Please do let me know if you're able to see my screen. Really appreciate if one of you can also let me know on the chat window if you're able to hear me well. I'm trying to use my headphones. Works well. I was in a previous call and people mentioned it's working fine, unlike last week. Hope everyone's able to hear me. See more people joining in. Give it a minute. In the meantime, we can go over today's agenda. Like our usual accounting, finance, practice management related topic, this is a bit more lighter topic, but I would say it's equally important as much as one would weigh the trust reconciliation or general reconciliation. We're going to see into various aspects of holding up to various experiences from business standpoint to user standpoint to product review to the customer review and experiences, how you could enhance your customers' experience through the power of practice management tool, how today this automated world helps you in achieving all of this in less than any, like few seconds, considering we have a lot of automated tools in uLaw today or across various channels, not just automated AI-generated tools. You have so many that would make your life seem so simple. At the same time, cater to your clients' requirements, the documents that needs to be generated from time to time, including the receipts, invoices, any client-facing documents that would enhance the value as well as keep up with the standards of your firm. We're also going to see about the brand experience and how client perceives it. What is it that you, as a solo practitioner or as a legal professional, let's say a small firm, official corporation, let's say you're 2 partners, you're multiple partners, you're trying to work on branding, how it works, how does your customer see it, and what value the brand carries, and how could you imprint that into every respective client-facing document. And we're going to see a bunch of things, starting off with brand experience. The least that you could definitely do is represent your firm. And brand experience is something that adds so much value to your firm and gives the feel, and the client starts to understand how you or your services that you provide, looks like when they take a look at the brand. So branding is like the key point where you kickstart the journey with your client. I strongly believe that every client goes through this learning curve with their service provider, understand them better, but it all starts with branding. You want your brand to imprint the confidence, give them the value, and ensure that you stand out amongst other competitors, other service providers that would deliver same service, similar service, but why you? I would ask you to think that way before you start thinking about branding. So it's not about just the logo, it's not about just the line, but it's about the confidence that brings in, it's the little confidence you bring in with your client that makes them feel, okay, this is the kind of service or this is the person I want to deal with. And the confidence is definitely going to begin with branding. When you onboard a client, not just giving them a retainer letter, but a branded retainer letter, having a right set of logo and, that entire feel of delivering it to them. That is the customer experience, making it right from the beginning, right? From the start of it, where they receive a client intake form, maybe through a QR code or through an email, through a link or paper pen method, whichever is the method that your customer is comfortable with. I would always recommend our clients who are uLaw users to explore every single option that you have. Go over that with your client and say, hey, at so-and-so law firm, we have various options that we would intake a client. Are you comfortable with clicking on a QR code or scanning on a QR code or clicking on a link? Or, when you talk to the client, you're more aware of their comfort zone. And then, you can decide, you can take a call right there and then say that, okay, now that you're in my office, you could use you can use this client intake form to fill in the information. You decide the method of transaction that you'd like to have with your client. And this starts right at the time of client intake form, goes on till the closing letter. There's several stages or phases that evolve through this process, right from the time you would intake a client to the time you provide them with the closing letter. So end-to-end branding and the customer experience is it's all about what they perceive. It's about what you portray to them. It's about how you brand your firm, how you brand yourself, how you brand the services, how you offer it to them. Like, do you like to offer it to them with every single document that is sent to them, or every single conversation, or every single time that you connect with them? Really important. For every consultation call that comes through, you want to end with a nice note and send them a thank you for time, and it's a pleasure doing business with you. Again, your branding, your logo, the courtesy, the communication, and of course, pick a communication channel that's very comfortable for your client. There could be, I always like to tell or suggest to my clients that there could be several options that one may have in hand. But for them, let them pick, saying that I'm comfortable with email method of communication, or I'm comfortable with a SMS or a message, or I'm comfortable with I'm comfortable over a Zoom call. Like, whichever is the preferred method of communication, once you opt for it, your client would start feeling more comfortable, more trustworthy. And that's exactly where you start to create that experience, the exclusivity in the experience for your client. And this at this stage, it's called as user experience. When we started off talking about brand experience, then moved on to customer experience, then moving on to user experience, the UX in this particular topic today. UX, again, like I said, is all about the multi-touch point experience a client faces. It's about how often you are keeping them aware of the proceedings. Like, you got a retainer letter signed, then you immediately hand them a retainer receipt. then you kickstart with the work and you offer them interim invoice, or at least keep them posted about what's happening in the trust by giving them a trust ledger, saying that, hey, so far we received, $500 from you. And then you could say we raised an interim invoice for $300, which was a court fee, and here is the invoice, and here is the trust ledger showing you the balances. That's that. But it makes a huge difference to the client to know and trust you more, and it's the experience that they're getting. It's to understand how engaged you are, with the client and the experience overall that they get. Now, again, does the client get a sense that you and your team are taking the efforts to work around the clock and deliver the service? That is, again, really important, because you want to highlight to the client that you are on this and this is where we are. And here is the trust ledger, here's the invoice, and you could expect another invoice in the upcoming days. So again, it's all about communication and the convenience that you offer them. Multi-touch point service is tremendously making a difference in the overall experience of the client, and the client starts to feel special as well as how committed that you are towards the service and the quality in service, and overall, I think the overall experience that they receive is what a user experience is all about. And finally, the product itself, meaning the service that you render and how satisfied the customer is. At the end of the day, now you could ask me, what if I'm I'm good at branding, I'm good at, giving the customer the best of the services, the experiences, but while delivering the service, I've made some errors, I've committed some errors, and I'm probably not, the best, not delivered my best. And yeah, end of the day, it's all about the experience. They come to you for the service. But if the end result, the end product, which is your service, the legal services that you render to them, is not, to the mark, to the extent that needs to be satisfied with, that is not acceptable. So, technically, the product experience is all about it, but what the client assumes. Okay. Sorry, just give me a second. Is everyone able to hear me? Anybody confirm, please? I think one of them are saying they're not able to hear me. Oops, don't say that. I'm 20 minutes into this. 15 minutes. Can one of you confirm? I know a lot of them are regular attendees here. Oh, thank you so much for your attend. Thank you for that. And I hope I'm clear enough, loud enough. Feel free to please let us know on the chat if you face any audio difficulty. Let me just quickly respond to viewer 21. Thank you. Yeah. So we were in the EX stage of it. So again, it's all about the product experience. Like I said, they come to you for the legal services, and obviously if they are not happy with that, then that's it. You will probably not have great reviews. You will probably not have a repetitive client, or you'll probably, which is the returning client, you'll probably not have a referral, So there's several ifs and buts, but yeah, I think to make all of this look simpler, easier is where a practice management concept kicks. I mean, like many of us would use a Word document, would use a calendaring system, which is their personal calendar or their, their Google Calendar or any calendar. Or many of them would do their accounting on an Excel spreadsheet or from old school method. But if you ask me, the benefits of using a practice management is in a nutshell, automated, integrated, uh, and also a software that helps you to work from anywhere at any time at your own will. Has everything loaded in it, right from a client intake form to a closing letter to the compliance management to accounting and everything that your year-end accountant would need from balance sheet, trial balance. Yes, but there is something that you will have to do, which is what is the data entry part of it. Every time you have a client, you go in, create a client, create a file, enter the dockets. You do the work that you would do. You definitely do 1/10 of what you would be doing on multiple other platforms that you would be doing, right? So, but end of the day, you still have to do what is needed, the basic. Give me a second. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad viewer 21 can hear us. Okay. So far, so we were talking about the four subsets of achieving the overall satisfaction in your client and what is it to keep up with your branding and customer experience and user experience and the overall product experience of your. We went over the basics, moving on to details of brand experience. Now, how could we focus on branding? Like again, with all these tools coming in today, with AI tools and so many things available online, things are becoming easier for a practitioner or a small firm to still do everything on their own and manage things swiftly. One of them is definitely branding. Always believe, even though people say don't judge the books by its cover, I always feel that, yeah, I think branding plays a huge role in giving that first impression to your clients. Why would otherwise someone want to think of even creating a logo, want to show that I am here, showing branding is important. Periodically try to visit your branding, your logos, make sure your addresses, your phone numbers, emails, everything that shows on your banners, your letterheads are all up to date. They're being updated every now and then. And you are keeping up with the trend, which is more important. Definitely, branding plays a huge role in ensuring that the client is able to relate to the services. And, more than anything, they're able to retain it in their memory that they're able to connect to your service and the logo or the banner or letterhead, anything that comes to their mind, right? Anything that would be really great for the client to remember is what you would need to work on. So definitely branding plays a significant role in social branding, business branding. Today, branding is, I would say, almost a full-time work. Then your legal services understanding, marketing, understanding how your clients would like to see you, position yourself, position your services, your product, um, and try to bring the brand on all the customer-facing documents, invoices, receipts, retainer agreements, the ledgers, everything that you would be sharing with them. Again, all of this is possible if you have a software that would download all of these instantly with these logo and brand messages. And definitely these messages should contain more personalized details. And I think we all thrive for that personalization. We all thrive for giving the client that special treatment, understanding that this is their, understand their, persona, understand how things work. I always like to tell clients that, deliver your best, but at the same time, understand what the a person on the other side needs and try to personalize it a bit. And that's where the customer experience plays a huge role, right? Because just not branding, but giving that customer experience the personalized content or the service or the effort, that is what really matters. One step ahead of servicing your regular clients. Every client is considered same, but I'm saying that they should be unique. There should be a consistency, but at the same time, personalization, if I could say. And very simple example that you're all seeing in front of you is Starbucks. We've had this slide for many, many years. I won't lie to you, but trust me, even today, people go back to Starbucks for that elevated experience, the personalized feel. I know that I'm a big fan of Tim's, trust me, right? But there's something that Starbucks always excites me about it. I know I'm not sure if anybody in the crowd today are like me, but this is just me. And I feel this is how your service, your branding at your level should also be, if you can kind of relate to it. It's a very, very simple example to put in layman terms, understanding their needs and optimizing it and, tweaking the little details that you want to share with them, but do it consistently. If you pick a method of communication, you would want to consistently do that. That is what the customer feels for and comes back to you. I always tell this, even at our organization, we have different channels. We have support, we have client success, we have boarding teams, we have bookkeeping team, we have several teams that we have to operate. And one of the things that we always standardize by saying is to put clients' request before convenience. So we want to understand what is that they are reaching out to us at this stage, at this phase, at this particular instance. But, to cure them and modify services accordingly. I think that is about customer experience. Now, user experience, as you all can see, is do it from anywhere. You are your client is the boss. At the end of the day, if they say, I am not tech savvy, you send them, or you ask them to come in, fill it out, or you fill it on behalf of them, send it to get it signed, or make things easier, send them a link. To understand, again, there are different options, right? Like how Starbucks, you can order on your app, go pick up at the drive-through, or you can go into the store, buy. You like the experience of going into the store and seeing that person write your name on the cup, and or you just want to keep things easy and move on. So, it's again understanding the user experiences, understanding your client. Only then you can provide them the experience that they are looking for. Similarly, is product experience. One of the last but major that we discussed earlier is there are plenty of choice. There are multiple levels of processes. There are different things that could affect the decision of your client, for them to refer you, for them to return to you, for them to provide you with a review. There are like multiple stages that you have to cross to be able to attain that satisfaction in your client. But like I said, personalization, branding, the overall customer experience and user experience. Nevertheless, the quality and process of your delivery of the services out, provide the overall product experience to you. Why this topic? Again, this topic is, not something that would help you to birds into the trust of general, but it is definitely going to help you in, a large picture. You look at it saying that you have a client approaching you and you're starting your firm, you don't know where to begin with. I would just say begin with branding. Branding, then choosing the method of communication, fixing on it, your own process, sending a retainer letter, collecting the retainer, providing with a retainer receipt. Now, so many documents that needs to be generated for one single client within the period of time is a lot of work. That is when the practice management software playing its role. You will to start using it wisely, making sure that every time you have a client, you ask them their preferred method of communication. If they say email, you can always send them a link, ask them to fill out the form, submit it. You save time, and it also looks more glorified, because look at something where you would have to download it, you will have to attach it to the email, and then send an email, draft it yourself, versus using a client portal from the program. Send clients an email, and that goes with a logo and an automated, email from our side, and saves you the time and energy, and still looks great. It looks like as if, a professional created that email and sent it out. Whereas it was us who did it on behalf of you and helped you save that time. There you go. Your work was just done here. You close this, you move on to some other work. Maybe you want to actually do some other file, do a docket. You wanna just save the time, right? And then you go back into your email. You just make sure that you are also making enough choices. You are providing your client with enough. So they pick up this option, great. And then let them know that, hey, you'll be receiving an email. Once you have the email, their work begins here. Like your work's ended maybe a couple of minutes ago when you sent them a link. Let's say you have a new client. I'm going to take this chance to walk you all through what are some steps that can enhance this overall BX, CX, UX, PX, and at the same time, for your law firm. And at the same time, reduce your intervention wherever needed. Right? So we're going to see this over the next 5 minutes, but I would urge you all to use the chat window at any time. I can pause for a minute if you all want to quickly let me know on the chat window. If you want me to repeat any concept, anything amongst the 4 subtopics that we discussed today, please let me know. Take that as a no. So everybody is good. So let's say the client is here, going to fill out the information. Not the details might not be mandatory, but if you feel you would like to know about their employment information, then you have to let them know the email or the phone call. So the purpose behind collecting this information of how did you hear about us? There's an important field in uLaw where when you're filling out the contact, there is a field called as source of contact. There's a document that you will need to generate under compliances, which is conflict check and source of contact in the top. So getting or obtaining this information here is to ensure that field is completed in order to create the document. For photo ID, driver's license, let's say, but in this case, please make sure that they email you, or obviously you'll have to do a virtual verification, which is also built in uLaw. I know how many of you here are virtual verification users in uLawPractice, but if you are not, I definitely recommend you to try it out. So the client authorizes you to connect with them via email. That's the form, not a robot. Once this is done, go back into uLaw. You would have received an email from, go back into your email, you would have received an email from us saying you have a new client. The client's information is here. If you have automated virtual verification with facial accreditation, immediately that email is also sent to your client in that really, initiate and authorize for your facial accreditation. It is also over here. Let's say you want to come back into uLaw and verify the client's information. All that you have to do is first try to, search the contacts, and then you can actually find out the client's name. Now you're going to first thing do is obviously make sure there are no conflicts. In uLaw, you would do that. I know it's not part of the PXPX UX, but it's for your internal purpose. That's it. I just want to show. Then you can move on. The branding. Now, in uLaw, you can personalize logo and banner. Load the logo and banner right here. Make sure that the banner and the logo are specified sizes. And then every time you download your logo and banner, every time you download your invoice, it will come up with the logo and banner. It's not just invoice, but any client-facing documents like invoice, receipts. Matter. Now you kickstart the process with your client. The very first thing that you want to interact, basically give them a little engagement letter, a retainer letter. You sign up. Obviously, make sure that it carries all the information. You see this letter doesn't have a logo or banner, but if you try to upload the logo or banner in here, it should come up with a logo and banner in that letter too. I used the logo. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if I could find the logo here, but let me see if I could work around with something. Apologize. I won my and how let's see if it works. Right? It just says logo and banner uploaded. We can try to see if it works here. So you have options to do it under both PDF as well as Word. There you go. If you have a logo, banner, branding comes up, you can also let that modified accordingly. If you don't like this, you can also do a Word and then try to bring in your own retainer letters. Works too. The one that I would always recommend my clients to do is to update their clients with the details. Now, let's say they provide with the retainer, email transfer, PINs number added in here. You should be able to provide them with a receipt. Again, the receipt, the information, the logo, banner. The idea is to not just show the brand everywhere, but also to provide with the details that would give your clients the satisfaction and awareness of what's happening. keeping them aware is really important. The document that I would like to next focus on is obviously the invoice. Let's say you're doing a flat rate here. Invoice document hence consists of logo, banner, signatures. Invoice again, particular style of invoice that I had previously. uLaw does not carry logo. I like to use the simplified Greyhound simplified even better. One liner. Go. Again, branding with the details that the client will need to consume and at the right time. And because two-in-one, it's also for compliance and also for the client purpose. Go back in there. That's right. With simplified also it displays the logo. I think the only version that doesn't display the logo is our default version. So the default version doesn't. Yeah, I can show a simplified version for all of you. It show. Just there. Simplified. When you go back, let's say the transfer is made. because once you raise the invoice, you're eligible to make the trust transfer. And upon making the transfer, you could generate the trust ledger to show your client exactly what happened in there. And yeah, again, as part of the our experience where we spoke about the multi-touch point, definitely talks about having these documents that are client-facing being provided to your clients every now and then. Complete the transfer. You go back the matter, you can generate something called as tickets, plus general, even better compliance, and it talks about these quarterly client statements. It would give you a settlement plus accounts. Again, this will carry both dockets, the details. Okay? This is information that your client should be aware of what's happening in the proceedings. And finally, what's available in the trust or what needs to be paid. Yes, sure. When you go into the client's matter, there are two places where you can generally download these statements. There's statements tab itself right beside invoice. You can click over it, and then you can go over whichever ones that you want to share with them, and then do that. Over here, we have settlement at Trust Plus General, which looks nice. We shared statement of activity too. My personal preference would be compliance, right under that quarterly client documents, and that is settlement plus accounts, which will provide you the details of dockets, invoiced, retainer, summary, what's there in trust as well as in general. Right now, trust is zero, but the general still is an outstanding of $630 from the client. Once that's paid, it will be taken care. Yep. To close accounts, that's where I'm coming to next. So once the client-facing documents are all done, the matters are done, you're wrapped up, payment reminder is sent to them, and the payment is collected. Let's assume this file is coming to an end or has come to an end. And you just proceed by clicking on Mark as and close. But before you close the file, you want to give your client a closing letter. Make sure everything is good. Again, communication, ensuring that they're aware of everything that's happened. They were aware of the file, proceedings. You need to enter anything. These are fillable PDFs. You can enter them too. Once you provide that, you're done. Then you can click on Mark as, click on Closed, and the file is closed. End to end, I think for a very effective and efficient communication, the very simple steps are branding and understanding the touch point. People don't like to have too much of information. Some people like to have, so you need to find the balance, the very minimum, and also the Law Society requirements talks about, the client intake verifications, the verifications, invoice to be like retainer agreements, invoices, retainer receipts, payment receipts, and statement of activity, settlement, closing letter. So these are some things that are minimum requirement. And yeah, nice question. To see all your closed files, or basically to see all your files, you need to go to Quick View. So contacts is where you get to see all your contacts. Matters is where you get to see your matters. But you will be only able to see the current matter that you're working on. If you want to search for another matter, you can go and click on the name and find the client's file here. The name and the file will open up. But Quick View in between contacts and matters is, again, really good, where you get to find the client by the status, by the name, by the file number. The status is like active, closed. If you want to see all your closed file, you can click on closed and all the closed files start showing. Plus that. It's very straightforward. Hope that's clear. Any questions from any of you who would like to, anything that you would like me to repeat or walk me through? Walk you through anything specific? Any questions? I'm opening the floor to questions. I'm also going to be sharing the attendance link for today's session, so you can all make a note, claim credits. In the meantime, I would appreciate if you start sharing your questions on the chat window. I know people have been asking questions in the beginning, but if you have anything that you'd like me to explain again, I'd be more than happy to do so. Once again, repeating, the topic for today's session is how do you ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX is high for your Here's the attendance link and topic for today's session. Kindly make a note. I have an announcement to make as well. For the next week, we are conducting a CPD. It is in person happening in Toronto, North York region. It is, so we would not be conducting this online CPD. It is a brand new topic. It's not the usual 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern time, hence we are not able to live stream it. It is only in person. It is happening in North York at Daniel G. Hill Library. I would be happy to share the details here with the registration link. So for people who are in GTA region, it's pretty center location. We have a few guest speakers. We have our team who's running a health clinic workshop for annual report filing that's coming up due, which is soon, by I think 31st of March. So we are conducting a little workshop from our support team who can help you with your queries Uh, so please do come show your support. There's also going to be more other paralegals and lawyers joining us. So I would really recommend for the ones who are here, who are regular attendees, who are in GTA, and who have their time. It's on March 13th, the Friday. It is from um, 11 to 12 is the seminar time, but we are open from 10:30 to 1:30 because we have our clinic workshops happening too for the annual report filing questions. If you have any questions, let's say you're someone who's done everything on your own, but you still are, you have some questions. You are a uLaw user or you're not a uLaw user, you can still be there, ask your questions, and please feel free to attend the session. Venue, topic details, agenda, the form to register. I have everything entered here on the chat window. Really nice to see you all in person. If you are interested, please drop your email. I can have this link sent on email too. Once again, thank you everyone for joining today. And please remember, we don't have the online webinar next week. So I'll catch you all the following week, which will be, I think, 20th. So 13th will be in person, happening at Daniel G. Hill Library, Toronto. And it'll be nice to see you all there. Thank you so much.